I don't get appropriation. I don't know if I understand it. Well, like if I wear a sombrero, I get in trouble. But I'm like, I could learn Spanish. I could eat Mexican food. I can have sex with a Mexican woman. But the hat, I find that stray. Call in if you understand it. I don't get appropriation. I don't know if I understand it. Well, like if I wear a sombrero, I get.
I don't believe the issue is necessarily you wearing it. I believe the issue is you attempting to make it a part of your identity. And in making it a part of that identity, there's a lot of people who make kind of like those jokes towards themselves about that identity. And if you aren't a part of that culture naturally, and then you wear their identity that has some kind of cultural significance to them, and then you as a non-affiliated member make jokes of that identity on yourself, that's where it appears to be like you are making fun of or you are throwing negative shade at that community now. And you are disrespecting that culture. The appropriation term is just to define that like somebody bastardizing an original form to make it something that they can consume or they can comprehend to their level, rather than just appreciating the complexity of the natural culture that was initially there and not meant to be corrupted or colonized. And if you don't want to go about the appropriation way, you could just ask the people from the community that you want to be in to see if you can get some validation and somebody to like kind of alibi you. But I doubt that you'll ever have any real issues unless you're being like just blatantly insensitive, which most people don't understand because a lot of our like comedic kind of like laughing comedy fun culture is rooted in like self-shame and self-hatred. So you just have to make sure when you're wearing somebody's identity that isn't associated to who you are, that you respect that.
I wouldn't even say these niggas chain. I would just say these niggas weren't real if they would've had a nigga think. One day I'ma run away with my gut feeling and take it to the bank.
I speak so freely about white people because I understand one amazing thing that I don't think a lot of people understand, which would help us get so far beyond that pseudo-racism conversation and just get right to the points that we want to, especially when the work that we're doing includes addressing white supremacy. The only white people who get insecure when you're addressing white supremacy are white people that don't have a culture. More times than not, it's American white people or white people who exist in the countries that have colonized other people's cultures and exploited those because they had no actual inner creativity to create their own culture to appreciate and then share with the world. So these people quite literally need to exist in a reality where they are entitled to exploit somebody else's divine nature to create culture. So specifically speaking about America, because we don't have a culture here, this is basically just the Disneyland of cultural exploitation. The only thing you can do is wear a bastardized version of somebody else's culture on your face and say that you appreciate it because you're quite literally wearing it like an O.J. Simpson glove, instead of being able to actually travel to the environments where people are practicing said culture and then being able to sit back as a novice and appreciate it based on how that tribe or that community is willing to accept you. Not based on how bad you feel you want it or how entitled you are to actualizing yourself through becoming a monk or becoming a this or living in a tribe with a village. So this usually affects American white people because consumerism is not a culture. Consumerism is a disease because you're creating your identity off of how much you can consume or what the quality is of your consumption, but you're never engaging or contributing to the collective by creating anything of any value that can be appreciated by anybody. You are quite literally just taking up space here. And I was just fortunate enough to have an amazing conversation about this like 2 days ago. And the conclusion that I came to was, and I was fortunate enough to have a conversation in this same regard a couple of days ago. The conclusion I came to was that people who lack resources but have a sense of culture will survive that lack of resources or that inability to sustain themselves materially. But people who don't have a culture have to hoard as much material as possible around themselves to protect themselves from being faced with what they would be if they had to address who they are behind the mask, who they are at their soul. So, again, it's necessary in their identity that they're entitled to exploiting and having and masking themselves with other people's resources to protect not only themselves, but all of us from seeing who they truly are at their truth and who they can't hide from us anymore. And now I want to bring that all the way back down on just like a person-to-person level. If you don't have a real sense of culture, you will never be able to make it beyond a world where we actively dismantle white supremacy, because your whole entire sense of identity is rooted in beliefs and ideologies that come from that foundation. You have to be on top of society. You have to be exploiting people. You have to be in a disadvantaged angle of power. And you never, in that respect, gave yourself an opportunity to create an authentic sense of value from who you are within right now. Not for whatever future projects you're working on to like colonize the moon, or not to uphold your history of your past. Because, I mean, look at your past. How commendable is that to anybody other than a group of these people, bro? So, let's be honest here, gang. The only people who are scared of this new world that's coming up are people who they get their whole entire identity and validation out of this world we live in right now. And there's nothing good that comes from this world we live in right now, other than good things for horribly shitty people. So, why would you be afraid of leaving this behind to go to where we need to go, where people can be appreciated and respected for who they are outside of what the white man decides to see us as?